If you've ever been curious how much money people actually make on YouTube, especially for small channels, especially for fishing channels, or maybe you just want to know if I have enough money to eat food today,
Start it up.
then you should probably stick around, because I'm about to tell you. What's up, fisher people, and perhaps just aspiring or other fellow small YouTubers? Happy New Year. Happy 2024. Last year I did a video that basically described how much I made YouTube-related, YouTube-ish earnings in my first period of monetization, which wasn't a full year. So it was the end of August. I had like 3 full months. Then I had Patreon longer. It was neat, it was interesting, because I finally had some data. But what I've really been looking forward to is figuring out how a full year was going to shake out for a small-ish sized monetized channel. Now I have a full year. I did go into a little more depth about how the YouTube thing works, how you get monetized, how you can earn money related to YouTube in that video. So I'm not gonna go into that so much this time around because we have more numbers to dive into. So let's do that right now. So for a frame of reference, the size of my channel, last year when I did that video, I was sitting at 1,434 subscribers. And this year, almost double at 2,686 subscribers. So thanks to 2,600 and, what did I say, 86 people for checking this out. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And my YouTube earnings from the previous year were $436.65, whereas this year it was $1,440.80. And that's just YouTube, AdSense, Google ad revenue stuff. People click on your videos, maybe they click on an ad, ads are shown, yada, yada, yada. You get money because there's advertisers being shown on your videos, right? Now, in terms of the growth rate change, it was up 230%, which again, not a real comparison because the previous year was not a full season. If we were to average that out and prorate it and make it more comparable, well, I'll get into that later in the video because it's interesting. Nevertheless, for my other sources of income, because there's other ways to monetize a YouTube channel, not just the ads on the videos, affiliate marketing. Still not a super great source for me. And if you forgot what affiliate marketing is, it's basically like you put a bunch of links to stuff that you bring up in a video, somebody clicks on the link, maybe they get a discount, maybe they don't, but you get a little piece of the pie and you can earn some money that way. So again, for my affiliate sources that I have, selling some Placino gear last year got me $14.49. Amazon got me $29.69 for a total of $44.18. Whereas this year, didn't do a whole lot with the Placino stuff. It was only $2.07, but Amazon was up a decent amount for $72.95 for a total of $75.02. Again, as you can see, this is not a huge source of income for a small channel. Unless you're like very techie oriented, you know, if you're pushing or reviewing gear, that can maybe be a bigger source of your income. But people are watching my stuff for fishing information for the most part. They don't always necessarily buy a lot of gear, or maybe I'm not doing a good enough job at trying to push affiliate marketing. Whatever the case is, that's not really my passion, so it's okay. It's another thing that's out there. Maybe it'll help me in the long run. But so far, not making a ton of money. If you were to scale up and get a much bigger channel, obviously this would take off a lot more. Now, the one thing that I did almost have a full year of data for last year was my Patreon setup, which is basically, again, people can become a supporter on Patreon to help you out with your channel, but also get a little bit in return. The little bit in return that I tend to give is fishing reports and inside information of my area, as well as last year we started offering the one-on-one consult sort of concept if somebody wants to just talk on the phone or something for an hour to learn about a presentation, something about their boat, something about their graphs, whatever. So last year that was a really good source of income for me. It wound up getting me $1,969.60, and the Patreon subscribers have gone up this year, which is awesome. I really appreciate that. In fact, I made $3,246 and didn't write down the cents number because I forgot. So that's not as detailed, but I think you get the point nevertheless. The growth rate for that was up 65%, so that's pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of that. Very grateful for it as well. Thank you so much for those who've supported this channel and continue to do so. If you want to do so, I always have links to Patreon and stuff like that. So if you're interested in supporting the channel, or just getting some of the fishing reports and in turn supporting the channel. There you go. And the one thing that I didn't have last year, which I do have this year, was I was able to get some, call them sponsorships or product placements or whatever you want to call it, deals working with various companies. So last year, 0. This year, I was able to make $1,000 by doing that. I don't know if I'm always going to disclose that. I definitely don't want to disclose the companies that paid the money because that would be a breach of contract probably. But the total number I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. I don't know. We're going to show it for now. At any rate, the total YouTube-ish related earnings for last year was $2,450.43, whereas this year it was $5,761.82 for an increase, again, with a little bit of an asterisk, of 135%, because the YouTube specific ad earnings isn't a full year comparison. So I don't like that direct year over year total number comparison either, but it's a little closer in the grand scheme of things. So that would be enough to make like 10 boat payments for the year, or order 512 burrito bowls with guacamole from Chipotle, or buy like 10,000 pounds of bananas. Not too bad. Now, one thing that I didn't do last year, because I didn't think it was super helpful unless you had a year over year comparison to look at, was dig into, in the video here, things like views, watch hours, subscriber growth, that kind of stuff. But there's a really interesting pattern that I found out here, which is basically all of that stuff. Basically my YouTube channel as a whole grew about 80, 85, 87, whatever percent. So my views went from 125,000 to 225,000, which if I stop to think about that for a second, like I know there's plenty of channels that get millions of views on one video, but just thought of me putting something out there like this and 225,000 times this last year somebody clicked on it to watch the thing that I made. I don't know. That's just pretty cool. I have a hard time getting over how cool that is. But again, views up about 80%. Watch hours, which should correlate to views to some extent, went up from 12,600 to 23,100. And although this isn't a direct measure necessarily, I gained 823 subscribers the previous year. I gained about 1,200 this year. Basically, I think the noteworthy point is the subscribers about doubled and everything's about on pace with each other. Views, watch hours, subscribers, everything's up almost 100%. So you would think if you were to scale the earnings from the previous season, I had 3 months at $436. So if you were to scale that out for the full season, that would come out to, math people, somewhere in like the $1,600+ range, right? 400 times 4 kind of thing. But this year, like I said, I made $1,400 and change, which is not double. In fact, it's actually a little less. So either that means there's something about as you scale up a channel in that first period that you don't make as much per view, or maybe YouTube earnings and ads themselves are down. Maybe companies are paying less to get those ad placements or something, and we're not getting as much of that as a YouTuber this year. I don't really know that answer, but I just remember doing these numbers and thinking, I thought I was gonna make like $3,000 and I definitely did not. So I don't know, not that I'm disappointed per se, like it's still cool to make money doing YouTube, but something's obviously changed. If anybody out there knows what that change is or what the scenario is, whether it's an economic thing, advertisers paying less, kind of a weird thing you see with scaling up your channel, or maybe it's just my videos weren't getting as much bang for the buck this year as they were the previous year. I don't know. Feel free to comment below, let me know how that goes. But that's the story. So again, YouTube is becoming a pretty decent, viable second source of income next to my fishing guide business, which for those of you watching this the first time, I'm a fishing guide primarily. That's my job. And then I do YouTube stuff as well during the season and in the off season, like right now. So I like where that's going. I'm curious to see how the next year will be. I'll probably keep doing this as like an annual update. What the heck, right? And if you wanted to see more in-depth information about like how all this stuff works, what Patreon is, what affiliate marketing is, how I get paid through affiliate marketing, and all that kind of nitty-gritty stuff, I went into that more in last year's video, so feel free to click on that, because if I'm smart, I'm gonna leave a link to it, right? right here, there, one of the corners. I don't know. We'll see you next time. Later, Fisher people.